The IRS has always been one of the Republicans' favorite targets, but their endless attack on the agency have led to enormous budget cuts that are preventing the IRS from being able to do their job at all. Joining me now to talk about that is Howard Nations. Howard, the IRS is quick to go after mom and pop when they don't pay an extra $100 on their tax bill, but they're completely, utterly unwilling, maybe unable, to go after all of this new dark money that's showing up in these PACs that are completely illegal. Explain that to us.
Well, the story, Pap, is that not only are they unwilling, but they're actually intimidated. The IRS, hard to believe, but the IRS is actually intimidated to go after these 501c4 welfare organizations that are nonprofits. And they're just spending money any way they want to now. The study by the Center for Public Integrity showed that in the November 2014 Senate races alone, dark money, that is money that is undisclosed, the source, $130 million went into the Senate races in 2014, supporting candidates and bashing opponents. And these are groups, the social welfare groups, are getting preferred tax status. But as part of that, they're barred from politics being their primary activities.
What are they supposed? Okay, here's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to engage in social issues, social welfare, not politics. It's very specific. You may not engage in politics, and if you do, it is a potential felony.
Yes.
Okay. So now here's what's really amazing to me. It's not just Republicans that are cutting the IRS down to where they can't go after these groups. Obama cut their budget by about $330 million. So they don't even have the ability to go after some of these groups.
That's true. They've almost abandoned their responsibility. Since 2010, since Citizens United, when all this really started springing up, the IRS has only begun 26 organizational audits. And there are 1 million nonprofits, and there are 100 nonprofits that are directly, absolutely, unequivocally involved in spending tens of millions of dollars. They're seldom monitored. They operate as political committees. They have no fear of reprisal now. And of course, it all comes out of Citizens United, the 2010 Supreme Court, which allowed unlimited spending by nonprofits. And they don't have to disclose their donors. And in 2012, there were $336 million spent in those races compared to $17 million spent before Citizens United in 2006.
It's safe to say that virtually anything goes. Once you have set up a 501c4 or 501c5 or 501c6, and that has to do with labor unions and trade unions and trade groups. Once you get that set up, the take by the Center for Public Integrity is anything goes. You can spend it however you want, and we have an IRS that is unwilling to do a damn thing about it. Now, did I get that right?
You got it exactly right. In fact, Senator Bill Nelson from Florida said, quote, "The IRS is not doing its job," end quote. There are obvious and flagrant abuses by social welfare groups. The IRS is intimidated.
Okay, so let me ask you this, Howard. You've talked about this before. I think we've talked about this issue of this whole fantasy that the IRS was going after conservative groups. First of all, it was proven that was nonsense. That what was happening is you had conservative groups bringing in these applications at a rate we have never seen before because they wanted to use that PAC money to illegally put behind candidates. So all of a sudden it made it look like the IRS was targeting the conservative groups, but the conservative groups were outnumbering even moderate groups by about 3-1 in applying for a 501c4 status. But nevertheless, the media, unable to even understand that apparently, tried to make it look like there was some kind of scandal involved and the IRS was going after conservative groups. It was nonsense.
Well, the result of it has been that Congress has taken off after the IRS, and specifically after this section of the IRS, which is supposed to, it is their job to investigate these organizations to make sure that they're complying with the tax laws. But when they did start investigating them, big shock. The division of the IRS that's supposed to investigate organizations to see if they're complying, the 501c4s, to see if they're complying with the tax laws, that's the people, of course, they went after. But they went after conservatives disproportionate to liberals, but the conservative applications were greatly disproportionate to liberals. The result of this all has been, according to the IRS commissioner, there have been hiring freezes, job losses, the taxpayer numbers are rising while their employees are declining. But here's the most important thing the commissioner of the IRS said: we are leaving billions of dollars uncollected as tax revenue as a result of the Congress systematically weakening the IRS and especially targeting the exempt organization division.
Yeah, okay, so we can't build roads. We can't change a water delivery system and sewer system in our infrastructure that is archaic. We can't build power grids. We can't pay for Social Security advances. We can't pay for any safety nets. We can't even pay for veterans when they come back from overseas to get medical care. But we're unwilling to go after slick, illegal politicos that are hiding what they're doing behind 501c4s, taking that money, giving it to the conservative politician of their choice or the Democratic politician of their choice. And we're unable to do anything like that because we have just destroyed the power of the IRS to do it.
We have. The number of IRS people, staff employees that were cut, 13,000 cut since the 2010 scandal. And they've got a decrease in training. They cut the training budget, this is amazing. They cut their training budget from $7 million to $500,000. And they quote the tax attorneys in this investigation, tax attorneys that deal with the IRS, as saying that there's a reduction in the quality of work. And they've especially cut the budget for the nonprofit division. They just crippled the IRS.
Politics just rolls on, and the average American public, they have no idea what's even happening to them. This is one of those stories the media doesn't report. Thank you, Howard. Appreciate you joining me.
Hey, my pleasure, Mike. Thanks.